On the night of November 22nd, 1910, a private railway car pulls quietly out of a station in New Jersey. Inside are 6 men, and every one of them is lying about who he is. They boarded one at a time, in the dark, so no one would see them arrive together. They've been told to use only their first names, Nelson, Harry, Frank, Paul, Piet, and Arthur, so the staff serving them can't recognize a single face. 2 of them go further and invent fake names entirely. To anyone who asks, they're just a group of wealthy friends heading south on a duck hunting trip. They are not going hunting. These 6 men control a staggering share of the money in America, and they're traveling in secret to a private island to do something that has never been done. Sit in a locked room and quietly design who will control the money of the entire United States. This is the meeting they would try to keep secret forever, and for more than 20 years it worked. To understand why 6 of the most powerful men in America had to sneak around like criminals, you have to go back 3 years to 1907. America has no central bank, so when a financial panic hits that autumn, there is no one in charge, no institution that can step in and stop the bleeding. Banks collapse. Depositors line up in the streets to rip out their savings. The whole system teeters on the edge of total collapse. And the country is saved by one man, the private banker J.P. Morgan, who locks other financiers in his library and strong-arms them into bailing out the system with their own money. It works, but it terrifies everyone in power because it means the entire American economy was rescued by the mood of a single aging man. Next time, he might not be there. America needs a system, and that is the problem these 6 men are traveling to solve. Quick pause before we reach the island. This channel drops you inside the moments that quietly shape the world you live in. A secret meeting tonight, something completely different next time. We're just getting started, so a subscribe genuinely helps more than you'd think. It's free. All right, back to the train. So who is actually on that train? There's Senator Nelson Aldrich, the most powerful man in the Senate on money matters, and, not coincidentally, father-in-law to a Rockefeller. There's Paul Warburg, a banker who understands Europe's central banks better than almost any American alive. Frank Vanderlip, head of the biggest bank in the country. Henry Davison, the right hand of J.P. Morgan himself, plus a top Treasury official and Aldrich's private secretary. Put simply, this is Washington's most powerful money senator, sitting down with the men who run Wall Street's biggest banks, the exact banks any reform is supposed to control. And that is precisely why it has to be secret. If the public ever learned that Wall Street was quietly writing the banking laws meant to rein Wall Street in, the plan would be dead on arrival, so they hide. Their destination is Jekyll Island, off the coast of Georgia, a private retreat so exclusive that its members were said to represent 1/6 of the entire world's wealth. J.P. Morgan is a member. So are the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts. The club is closed for the season. That's the point. The regular guests are gone. The skeleton staff are sworn to discretion, and for about 10 days these 6 men will have the place and its silence entirely to themselves. They settle into a room, spread out their papers, and get to work on a single question. The same question that will decide the value of the dollar in your pocket a century later. If America is going to build one institution to control its money, how do you design it without letting any single bank or the government or the public ever truly control it? Now, before they draft a single word, understand what these 6 men are really deciding, because it's far bigger than one bill. Whoever controls a central bank controls 3 of the most powerful levers in any economy. First, interest rates, the price of borrowing money, which quietly decides whether businesses expand or freeze and whether you can afford a house. Second, the money supply itself, the power to create dollars out of thin air or pull them out of circulation. And third, lender of last resort, the one who decides which banks get saved in a crisis and which are left to die. That is the machine they're about to design. Not a company, not a policy. The control panel for the entire American economy. So the real question in that locked room isn't just how to build it. It's who gets to hold the levers, and just as importantly, who never will. For 10 days, they argue and they draft. And what they invent is genuinely clever. They know Americans hate 2 things above all: big Wall Street banks and big central government. A European-style central bank, one government money printer, would be rejected instantly. So they design a workaround. Not one central bank, but a network of regional reserve banks spread across the country, tied together at the top, run by bankers, wrapped in a layer of government. Close enough to a central bank to actually work, disguised enough to survive a vote. They even agree to keep the word bank out of the name entirely. It's a masterclass in political camouflage. They aren't just designing an institution, they're designing something that can slip past a suspicious public. They call it the Aldrich Plan, and that name is about to become its fatal flaw. They leave the island as quietly as they came, and for a while the secret holds. But the plan carries Senator Aldrich's name, and Aldrich is known everywhere as the Senator of Wall Street. The moment the Aldrich Plan is unveiled, opponents smell exactly what it is: a banker's bill in a politician's coat. It's attacked from every direction. It never even makes it to a serious vote. On the surface, the Jekyll Island plan is dead. The secret meeting, it seems, was all for nothing. Except, here's the twist: it wasn't. A new administration sweeps in, a different party. Woodrow Wilson's Democrats, who campaigned against exactly this kind of Wall Street influence. They take the hated Aldrich Plan, strip off the toxic name, bolt more government oversight on top, and pass their own version of it. In December 1913, it becomes the Federal Reserve Act, the central bank of the United States, still running your economy today. And here's the part that sounds impossible. Historians who lined up the two documents found that the Federal Reserve, as passed, was structurally almost identical to the plan those 6 men drafted in secret on Jekyll Island. Different name, different sponsors, same skeleton. They lost the battle over the Aldrich Plan and quietly won the war. The thing they built behind a locked door became the law of the land. But the strangest part is what happened to the secret itself. For more than 2 decades, the men who were on that island simply denied it. When asked, they dodged. The official story stayed a duck hunt. It wasn't until the 1930s, long after the Fed had become untouchable, that one of them, Frank Vanderlip, finally admitted the truth in his memoir. He described the whole thing as secretive, even conspiratorial, and, in his own words, as thrilling as any spy adventure he could imagine. Think about that. The men who designed America's central bank kept the meeting hidden for a generation, then confessed it like an old war story. And that long silence is the exact soil in which every theory about the Fed would grow. Because this is where the story splits in two. One version says a secret cabal of bankers seized control of the world's money on that island, and it's worth being clear and honest about this. That version is a myth, and some of it is rooted in old prejudices, not evidence. The documented truth is both more ordinary and, in a way, more unsettling. There was no world-controlling cabal. There were 6 real men, a senator and a handful of bankers, who simply understood something the public didn't: that the rules of money are written by whoever actually shows up in the room, and they made very sure the public wasn't in it. They didn't need a conspiracy. They needed a locked door, 10 quiet days, and a duck hunt for cover. So why should a secret meeting from 1910 matter to you tonight? Because the thing those men built in that room still decides the value of the money in your wallet right now. When your rent climbs, when your savings quietly lose value, when a loan gets cheaper or a mortgage gets harder, you are feeling decisions made by the institution first sketched out on Jekyll Island. The Federal Reserve is not a myth, and it's not a monster. It's real, it's immensely powerful, and its design, banker-shaped, walled off from voters, born in secret, is exactly the design 6 men chose when they were certain no one was watching. The lesson isn't that shadowy men rule the world. It's simpler, and it never goes out of date. The most important rules are written in the rooms you're not invited into. So picture it one last time: a private train in the dark, 6 men using false names, a closed island, a locked room, and a duck hunt that never happened. Out of that secret came the most powerful financial institution on Earth, and for 20 years, the men who built it looked the world in the eye and pretended it never took place. They tried to keep the meeting secret forever, and they very nearly did. So what do you think? Was Jekyll Island a necessary fix for a broken system, or proof of who really writes the rules? Tell me in the comments. Next time, another door you were never meant to open.